Hey, welcome to House and Creatives. I'm Ashley.
I'm Jackie.
So happy you could join us at whatever time you're seeing this. Today we're talking about the upcoming full moon in Leo on February 12th. This is at 8:53 a.m. This full moon in Leo is going to be interesting. No matter who or what you're following, I'm sure that's kind of the prediction. There's just a lot of things happening coming up on Wednesday, and so I'm happy that you're here so we can talk about it and you can lean in a little bit. So the first thing is that the sun and moon are opposite of each other, right, for the full moon. So we've got the sun in Aquarius and the moon in Leo. And then we have Uranus sitting in Taurus that just went direct a couple weeks ago. And it's sitting here and creating a T-square. And this is a tension point. And so this could look like a lot of different things. This could be unexpected aha moments of recognizing where you have or haven't, like where you have overvalued your own individuality or have undervalued your individuality, and how we can find expressions in the collective force of like how our energy is here to also make a difference, and to as we find liberation within our own hearts, we also inspire other people to feel like they can pursue their own sovereignty as well. This really feels like a breakthrough, in my opinion. Yeah. Could be interesting though. I mean, depending on where you have these placements in your chart, could show up as many different themes. But I think that there's really some things to point on here around communications. Mercury is right here also, really close to the sun. And so working with this, so how you communicate or how you end up expressing this verbally. If you're a writer or anything, maybe journaling down your experience the next week or two, because there could be some interesting things happening. But you can really kind of expect some shift. And whether this is on a collective level where we have kind of an unusual event happening, or I think we've been seeing a lot of unusual events in the United States, weather-wise anyway. But something kind of like impactful that's going to shake you a little bit and bring you down to a place of more of the heart center, and talking about the higher heart. I think that maybe you have something to share in terms of that Leo Aquarius aspect, like how in our body, right?
Yeah, so we'll get into the higher. So when we work with BodyTalk, we work agenda lists. But the fun part about, or the fascinating part, when you have sessions during times of, like cosmic shifts or the cosmic energies, that plays into your session. Like we're you can say compounding or playing off the energy that is present. So we have the higher heart, which, witness to like thoughts, emotions, memories. And so when we work with kind of those things that are emotionally charged, we could say we have certain techniques. Like we could be doing an active memory. So we're, releasing that movie reel, the charge in that movie reel that plays on. It can be from simple things like seeing your ex's truck drive by, or an experience while driving. Apparently driving is a theme there too, back to back. We could talk about body chem, which, body chem is, we work with like the saliva, and we put it in your belly button or behind your left ear. It's the quickest way for your body to recognize internally what's going on.
Cool.
Do it a lot when we are like sick, which, speaking of sick, we'll get into like the thymus, which is, correlating with that higher heart. Body chem can also be, we ingest it or absorb it, inhale it, and it can also be very spiritual. Like, think about like the lies you tell yourself. Environmental Vivaxis, our life force, that circle around us, which is just a little bit different than like Wei Qi. We also have techniques like interference and scars. So these are things that we could possibly see come up with this extra cosmic energy. Thymus, so going back to thymus and the T cells, when we experience like positive, loving feelings, our immune system is just naturally going to be stronger and better able to fight off infection. We have distortions in the thymus, like the distortion in the consciousness of the thymus, we're going to lead to like being overly defensive behavior, attracting or denying yourself, like you were just talking about. And then, so a key point there would be accepting ourselves and meeting ourselves where we're at.
Ooh, let's remember that. Meeting ourselves where we're at.
Yeah.
I love that.
And keeping an open heart about that. And the last thing I just would say, the Greek word thymus is life force.
Oh, cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I feel like something that always makes, when I was like learning about the higher heart and stuff, that always stood out to me too was like, have you ever held back something you wanted to express, or something you really felt, tears, that kind of like choking back feeling? Yeah, that is shutting off the higher heart when you're not able to release some of those. So thinking about that, if you find yourself feeling choked up, or you feel like there is something that really your heart is trying to express, please work with trying to allow that to start moving out. And I think going back to like Jackie, meet yourself where you're at. You can't force things out, and I feel like discernment should always be forefront. But it's not to say that you just like might not just like all over, so that's okay too. I feel like those are in all good timing as well. And I think what else, like this meet yourself where you're at, like you were talking about, also really connects in. Like there's, we have what's called a grand trine, and it's this triangle energy that works together, and it's working with the Pleiades, Pluto, and the South Node in Virgo. And so I feel like that energy really speaks to that meeting yourself where you're at, recognizing what needs to be transformed, and really honoring the emotional things that you've been through, the things that you haven't been able to express, or kind of this like repressed perfectionism, or I should say repressing perfectionism, or looking like we have very rigid views about how our life should be or how it has been. And Pluto's really kind of coming in with the Pleiades to try to like nurture that and heal that. That really feels like a really powerful feminine energy. And what is more nurturing than meeting yourself where you're at? It really feels like dark feminine and light feminine coming together and walking this path together, to open up you to see yourself, and to open up these spaces to honor where you're at, to honor where you want to go, who you want to be, and heal the spaces that we have choked down or been expected to be a certain way, or how we've been expected to fit into these little boxes, right? And with that energy also comes another dynamic of the kite pointing right to Neptune and the North Node, which are going conjunct in like, if you're watching this, it will be several days before the full moon. And this feels significant in just kind of like knocking on the door of your soul, right? there's a lot of talk about spiritual awakening, you know, and because that's like, you know, how else do you describe that? It's like, because you just like kind of wake up to something, like something else is exposed. And I feel like this is like really where the lens gets clicked in on the right number, and we look through the lens, and all of a sudden the world looks really different. I just got goosebumps on my head. You know, where we really get to see a different perspective of ourselves, of the world that we want to live in, the person that we want to be, you know, and it's all being kind of nurtured by this really feminine energy, and really kind of unlocking some different pieces. So there could be a lot of layers that happen this next week. And if you can be really present with yourself of like, recognizing daily tasks or routines or things that you do repetitively, of like recognizing that maybe you want to do something different, that you're ready for something to change, and meeting yourself where you're at to be able to shift, you know, and change the lens. You know, let's look in some different directions.
Pivot.
Exactly.
That's ankles. That's Aquarius.
Oh my gosh, how beautiful. Like, again, got goosebumps on my head.
Yeah.
I love that. Totally. We're getting ready for a pivot, for you to choose something different. And whether this comes in as a radical force, or one of those aha moments, or as some talk about a download, or something's going to come in that makes sense, that you realize that you're ready to like pivot, and you're meeting yourself where you're at, to be able to honor that that you are the creator, like you are it. You know, it's not outside of you. It's right in here. Like anything of wholeness and holiness and of everything, anything and everything is right in here. It's not outside of us, you know. We're getting reflected that back every day, and all of a sudden maybe this realization of some of this space feels really quite exciting. It could feel rocky for some people that aren't ready for that. You know, it could feel scary and like you've lost control. And let that be just a reminder. I want to offer you support in the sense of nurturing yourself in any way that you can, finding small comforts with anything, food, blankets, anything that makes you feel comfortable in these moments that you are maybe undergoing some deeper transformations. You know, we don't have to white knuckle this. We don't have to white knuckle anything, and making that choice to not white knuckle it, but to step in this place where we're honoring ourselves, you know. The last point that I just wanted to talk about was that Mars, that's in Cancer, is also kind of communicating with Saturn in Pisces, which feels kind of interesting. So here is the support system coming in, saying, you can do it. It's time. I'm here. Let's change it. Let's do it together. You have the power, and it doesn't, and I'm talking power not like we're going to just power through it. I'm talking about a deep power within you that gives you the resilience and the fortitude to take the steps needed. And that is not just powering through, that is feeling it. Meeting yourself where you're at. Making the changes that you need to make. The pivot. You know, and some of those things aren't necessarily easy, right? Easier said than done in most scenarios, you know, but that there's a lot of planetary support in helping you make these transformations and helping support you through this. And I can't wait. I actually am really looking forward to what that brings in. This year just feels so
Different.
Yeah, I almost wanted to say magical, and that's not even quite the word. Like there's a mysticism present that has left me feeling so curious and thirsty. I'm like, what's gonna happen next? you know. I wonder how you're feeling. I wonder how this is gonna hit for you. I'd love to hear about it. Maybe we'll tap back in and talk about how it was for us. Who knows? Who knows? You never know what you're going to expect from us. So
it's the best part.
Jackie, did you have anything else that you wanted to just pipe in about?
I think, like, sometimes you can feel where you're supposed to be, but you don't know the steps. And I would say just work your way backwards. So, like, know where you want to be or you can see yourself, and then take and go a step back from that, and you're like, okay, that's where I got to be for that, and just work the steps backwards, and kind of like a blind faith, in like Indiana Jones, where he throws the sand over if I can remember the goblet one, anyways, where he throws the sand, he's like, and it appears, that first initial step will appear.
Oh, I love that.
And yeah,
when we're able to take the time to kind of not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, just don't get ahead. Just like work backwards and be like, okay, this first step will appear.
That really feels like the Uranus and Taurus. Like, let's slow down. It's okay to slow down. Like, there might be these really, radical or unexpected events that come, but that doesn't mean that we have to like rush through it. Like, stop and smell the roses, and
it's okay to.
Yeah, and to backtrack, to just be like, okay, I don't know what the next step is, but I do feel this way, and I got this going on, and I've been thinking about changing this, and what do I do now? Let's backtrack. Where did I steer off? Or where do I pivot?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I love that.
Just slow it. Because when you do slow it down, all of a sudden you could be going really fast.
Most of it. I feel like I personally move through things really quickly, and then I'm left like, what's happening? Nothing's happening. Why isn't anything happening? And usually it's because I've moved too quickly, and I have to do this off, like where I have to kind of like step back. I either have to repeat something or redo something, or I have to sit and be patient and wait. And Uranus being in Taurus definitely has left me on cliffhangers often.
Yeah.
So
I think the last thing, like, to give it a very open example, or like in our face example, Chapel Roan. Do you know who I'm talking about if I say it? Her Chapel Roan.
I don't.
They called her an overnight success, but she took 10